are still reviewing events of the Correspondent in 2024, and this edition of the program x-rays the efforts of government in the fight against drug abuse and trafficking, and also the efforts of stakeholders in managing disabilities in children and adolescents. It's good to have you join us again on the program. As usual, it promises to be educative and engaging. I am Zenret Dingmun. Now, in June last year, precisely on the 26th, World Drug Day was marked, drumming support for the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Nigeria also joined the global community to commemorate the day as captured by Oluseyi Adeagbo.
The global challenge of drug abuse and illicit trafficking continues to take toll on millions of lives worldwide, and communities are grappling with the consequences. In UNODC's report, drug use prevalence currently is 3 times higher in Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu's response explains vigor injected into the country's drug control efforts, and the 2024 World Drug Day theme resonates national readiness to redouble the cause.
I urge each one of you to join hands in this noble cause. Investing in prevention today will yield dividends of a healthier, safer tomorrow.
While cannabis remains the main drug sourced, trafficked, and used in Nigeria, Nigeria's Drug Law Enforcement Agency is proud of its record of achievements in mounting an unprecedented criminal justice response to drug trafficking.
Nigeria will continue to contribute positively in the global effort to contain the consequences of illicit substances. As we commemorate the World Drug Day, let us renew our commitment to prevention.
Drug use in Nigeria is a public health crisis which cannot wait. It is now the time to make prevention the priority.
The meeting of global partners and national players involved in fighting the psychoactive drug menace featured the launch of Save Our Families campaign.
We are not yet done with this issue, but let's take some messages. The program will continue in a moment.
Fellow Nigerians, this period may be hard on us, and there is no doubt that it's tough on us. But I urge you all to look beyond the present temporary pains and aim at the larger picture. All our good and helpful plans are in the works. More importantly, I know that they will work.
Welcome back. Now, still on the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking, we had a discussion with correspondent Ayodeji Makinde after his experience in the field.
In a time when youth around the world are actively getting involved in governance and democratic processes, focus sometimes has been described as a challenge. One of the main issues most heads of governments globally are tackling is drug abuse. This hydra-headed monster continues to attract more followers on a daily basis. This trend is a major concern to all, including the Young Entrepreneurs and Innovators Foundation. The non-governmental organization, in collaboration with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, is advocating for balanced, effective drug policy, encourage evidence-based treatment and care services for drug users, and promote research in prevention, treatment, and care in the country.
More worrisome is that drug abuse is common among undergraduates and secondary school students, youths, commercial bus drivers, farmers, and sex workers. Research or reasons for use include to increase physical performance, stress, and to derive pleasure.
Lead paper presenter Mabel Ifoma Oyemelukwe, a professor of French and African literature from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, highlights the fundamental causes, attractions, sustenance, and consequent effects of drugs and substance abuse.
Some people are making their living out of it, selling hard drugs. They're all over the place. They're also taking, some of them are also hooked on to drugs. But if there's a law brought out that will grapple with it, serious law that will put fear into people and make them stop that kind of nonsense. That's what we need in Nigeria.
As the countdown to 2025 edition of World Drugs Day starts, more beyond statistics would be required to gauge the continuous fight against drugs and substance abuse.
Now, Ayodeji Makinde joins us to talk more on the 2024 International Drug Day. You're welcome to the Correspondent, Ayo.
Thanks very much, Zenret.
Okay. Now, the rate of substance abuse among young Nigerians is alarming. Where do you think the country got it wrong?
Well, this is quite huge a question. If we take a look at where we're coming from and where we are at the moment, it's very easy to easily pinpoint it on the loss of family and societal values. There's no more respect for the elders. And even the elders that we have nowadays, how much time do they really have to monitor what the younger ones are doing? Unlike those years and back in the day when everyone was conscious that there was an elderly person in the environment who would always be as a watchdog. But nowadays, with what we have, it's the prevalence is again, we cannot disconnect it from the current state of globalization that we have. This is the day of technology and ICT where everyone is on a small box doing what is done any other part of the world. Therefore, if we look at the loss of society and family values, the impact of globalization, and of course, in an environment where people are not taking charge, it becomes difficult not to have this kind of trend that we're having, especially amongst the young people in our society who are supposed to put in their energy into positive thinking for the growth of the country.
Okay, so there's been a lot of advocacy and mostly trying to give curative measures. But now with this year's theme, we're talking of evidence is clear, invest in prevention. Can you tell us more about stakeholders' efforts in this fight against drug abuse, considering the magnitude and dangers of the menace?
Well, incidentally, I think the theme for this year sums up what should be the right action in the right way. Which is invest in prevention. I mean, the evidence is very, very clear. I took my time to go beyond one event to commemorate the 2024 World Drug Day, and I listened to so many keynote speakers and experts in getting people out of drugs and also in the prevention. One thing I noticed is not that we've not really invested in the prevention, but the statistics, I think, to a large extent, it still doesn't reflect the number of people who are into drugs in the society. It's appalling when you walk into the streets and you see a child that should not even attempt to be in drug is already, sinking in drugs. I mean, it's terrible what we have in the society nowadays. Yes, people might want to say you can blame it on the environment, but it is still in the same environment that we're having young entrepreneurs, that we're having people growing in leaps and bounds on a daily basis. It is still in the same environment that we're having people excelling academically. Same environment, people prospering in businesses. So why go the option of drugs? Now, having said that, trying to invest in prevention and also tackling the menace, it's going to be quite a challenge. I mean, I'm saying this in all modesty because sometimes it is beyond the textbook or the theoretical analysis and approach to this fight. Some of these people that I've met one-on-one, on the ground of anonymity, they find it difficult to relate with you if they don't even trust you. I mean, they see you just coming from one side trying to judge them that they're into something that is bad. Yes, not that some of them don't even know that what they're doing is bad, but sometimes they really need someone a big shoulder that they can lean on and, of course, express their problems and what really led them into it. And that's why some of those who held different events to commemorate the day are vowed to go a step further, which is interacting more with them, getting to know the causes of their problem and what satisfaction that they are getting, and let them see the alternatives that can give them that satisfaction instead of going into hard drugs.
Okay, like you mentioned, Ayo, a lot of young people are now deeply involved in the fight against drug abuse. Now, does this mean there is a new wake-up call on this crusade?
Well, a little, because if you look at the increase in the number of those getting involved in drug abuse on a daily basis, it's a cause for concern. You'd want to sit back and have a broad look at it and ask yourself, why the choice and option of drugs? And some have argued that, yes, it's medicinal, it's this, but it's only medicinal and beneficial to your body if it is prescribed by medical experts. We've not really gotten to that level in the country where you can use medicated cannabis like they do in some other parts of the world. But before we even get to that, why go for something that you know it's injurious to your health? The current rates we're having nowadays amongst boys and girls, even up to primary school level. I mean, there was a pupil that we saw, but on the ground of anonymity, a primary 5 student pupil is already into drugs. I mean, gone are those days. You cannot even try it. Not even in secondary school, not even in the university days. Even if you try to attempt it, you must go far away where nobody can see. It was seen more like something that was acceptable in the society. But nowadays, we're doing it. We're seeing people doing it. We're seeing elders doing it. And of course, they're doing it with brazenness, openly. And again, if we're going to try to reduce this scourge, this hydra-headed monster that keeps getting disciples on a daily basis, I think we have to go beyond what NDLEA are doing. There has to be appropriate sanctions, punitive measures to ensure that first, it is not even done in the public anymore. By the time it's not done in the public anymore, we know we've started the process of at least saving the society of people getting attracted to it, because you are moved by what you see. If you don't see people do it, or like they say, the strong men, oh, he did it, it's still okay, I think I can do it and get okay, forgetting that you don't have the same body system. Okay, so before you go, Ayo, as a young person yourself, can you share with us your experience covering this event and how, you've talked about a bit of your interactions with some of those people. What was your take home during the event? Well, my take home from those that I've seen, those I saw rather, and those I still intend to see, because we're almost on the streets every day trying to, get the views from the streets, is that the issue of drug abuse has come to stay. It's a sad narrative, but it has come to stay. But if we all agree that it has come to stay, we can also collectively take those joint efforts to say, no, we don't want it again in our society. Just like we had the fight against COVID, just like we had the fight against HIV and AIDS. And of course, people are now more enlightened about what to do and not what to do. We can also put in the same energy and strength in combating drug abuse and substance abuse in the society and get the youth to believe in their own country, in the system that is available, to channel their energy into positivity and, of course, not negativity and negative vibes. After all, they also want to get high. Why not get high in positive thinking and make Nigeria a better place? I've been speaking with Ayodeji Makinde on the 2024 World Drug Day, the challenges of the menace and efforts by various stakeholders to address the global problem. Many thanks, Ayo, for your contributions on the program. We hope to see you again soon. Yeah, thanks, Enret. Remain in high spirits. Of course.
And also within the year under review, caregivers expressed concerns on managing children with disabilities, as captured by Elizabeth Omori.
My name is Grace.
Amira and Praise are students benefiting from a vision birthed 16 years ago to cater to the needs of children with special needs. The Child Care Trust of late Stella Obasanjo at Buari can provide shelter for 120 children for emotional support, counseling, education, speech and language therapies, and health care. Following the MOU signed recently, the Center is soliciting the support of governments at all levels, parents, donor agencies, and individuals to promote inclusion to make life better for these vulnerable children with unique abilities.
Most importantly, these children, we cannot define them by their nature, but we define them as people with ability, because we believe that the teachers that are going to train them are capable of doing that, and at the end of the day, we are going to succeed in giving them what is needed for them. So my hope and our hope is to see that this place is okay, and we're trusting God that something is going to be done.
I know if government try, at least we have to pressurize them to try more, because things are here. It needs a lot of money. So we have to either we in touch with NGOs to assist us. We direct them where we have complaints and we want them to help us, because children are for everyone.
The center will be needing assistance in various ways, like the feeding of the children. We will appreciate if either the government or well-wishers or collaborators can help us. About 30 million naira per annum will go a long way to be a great support for us in the center, the running cost of the place. For a particular child, monthly, it's 150,000 approximately.
Okay, so do you get support from the parents?
We just get minimal support, but basically, Papa Olo Obasanjo helps a great deal in that. Yes.
When I walked into this structure last year, I knew I found a place to come back to and to use my skills and my talent for the good of the special needs children that I love so much.
Okay, so in what areas would you be partnering?
We'll be the technical team. We will be taking care of their speech and language therapy, psychological therapy. We'll be doing the testing, screening, assessment, and clinical reporting. We're working with the doctor that you just spoke today to open a clinic that will help us take the data that we need, and then we'll be able to develop a personalized curriculum for each child that comes through this center. We're also working on the curriculum to make sure that each child is taught according to their skills, ability, and time span to be able to achieve the kind of functionality that is required of them.
The medical clinic, speech and language labs, physiotherapy room, hearing impaired class, kitchen, intellectual impaired room are part of facilities that require modern equipment to operate effectively.
And we're not done with Elizabeth Omori as she joins us to speak more on this issue. It's good to see you again, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me, Senret.
All right. Now, you visited the Child Care Trust facility. Can you tell us what is the state of the place at this time?
Okay, I would say overhauling. The center needs serious overhauling because I had an opportunity to tour the facility from the language lab to the speech lab, physiotherapy lab, clinic, kitchen, resource center, all needing serious overhauling because the facility has the capacity to handle 120 children with several conditions, from autism to cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, children with hearing impairment, visual impairment, all needing attention from parents, caregivers, and not just caregivers, not people that are not trained caregivers. So going to that facility reminded me of several things. And I'll start this way. For every situation, you have to be grateful to God, because when life gives you a lemon in different flavors, the lemonade you make out of it could come in different shades. Now, these are children with several disability conditions. They need help. They need support from their parents. They need support from their caregivers. They need support from Nigerians. The facility has been there for 16 years. It was the pet project of the late Stella Obasanjo, but her family has been doing so much to ensure that that facility, that project does not die.
Now, I think that's the aim of this project. And one of the challenges of running such a center is inadequate funding. Now, what are the managers doing to overcome this? And now with this project that you speak of, how are they going to manage the challenges?
Well, funding is very important because from what I heard from the founder of Petra's speech, funding is very, very important. Now, aside funding, there's the need for emotional support, all forms of support, psychological, emotional, technical support, love, affection from people around. Now, I understand that some of these children are kept in that facility and their parents do not come back to pick them. Okay, you can imagine it's summer and parents write to the school to tell them, oh, can we just leave them for the next 2 weeks and they will pick them up after 2 weeks. They're not getting the love and affection they need. Aside funding, they need the love, care, support in several forms, in several ways. And how do we show them love? By providing for their needs. Now, let's not forget, these are children. They are growing to become adults. Some of them are teenagers, some are not yet teenagers. So we'll be talking about their health, education, reproductive health for the girls and for the men. How do we handle these children? And that's why I said at the beginning that they need all forms of help, assistance, medical, health, psychological, in all forms, so that they can fit into society, so that they can become normal like other children, like other normal human beings. But more importantly is the love they need to get from their parents, from their caregivers, and from Nigerians, everyone, whoever has them.
Okay, Elizabeth, there's one thing I would like to know. Children with disabilities are said to be really creative. I don't know what type of projects or programs are being run there. Are there programs of skills development?
Yes, they do. They actually do. They have skills development programs for them. But the issue is they do not have the equipment to teach them, to train them. That's why recently an MOU was signed to leverage expertise of individuals, of institutions, to help move and make that place function, because the functionality of that facility is very important to any parent and to any government, or to any serious government that understands the fact that they have such children in that facility to cater to their needs. They have so many projects. You can imagine they even have a water plant in that place where water is actually sold to members of the community, the host community in that environment. It is a project. Now, there is sewing. They sew garments, textile and garments. They sew. Many of them are into craft, arts and craft. They can draw. They can put things together. They are very creative. They are smart. Their brains are sharper than other normal human beings, but they do not have the ability either to move or either to see or either to hear well. But several skills acquisitions are in place for them to utilize. But the issue is there are no facilities, no equipment, no tools for them to work with. That's why they need the support of Nigerians and the government.
From your visit to the center, what was that moment or that captured your heart or your mind? What did you learn? What did you leave there with?
Really, I have to be sincere. For every time I visit a center with such children, I tend to cry. The emotions are never mutual, because you are like, oh, this is a very beautiful child. a very brilliant child, but there is a condition limiting that child to a particular facility. He or she cannot go out or can't do what another child could do. So it sends so much signals to everyone. But like I said, more importantly, it is the love, the affection that they get from us. So we need to love and attend to their needs. More importantly, love, always.
All right. We do hope that they find what they need. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for taking time to be part of the program again. And we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you so much, Zinret.
All right.
And that's it for today. Remember to be here same time next week for another experience. Now, thank you for your time. And from all of us here, it's bye for now.